Hey guys, welcome. In this video, I want to talk to you about getting started with TabJolt. For those of you that are not familiar with TabJolt, it is a point and run load testing tool that Tableau has purpose-built for Tableau Server that you can use. I'm Nilesh Kamkolkar. I'm a product manager at Tableau Software. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can download, install, configure, and run TabJolt with Tableau Server, and also introduce you to some basic analytics. TabJolt is available via GitHub, and that's the URL that you want to take down and navigate to download the TabJolt zip file. TabJolt for Tableau Server works with Tableau Server 9 only. In addition to TabJolt, you're going to need Tableau Desktop as well for analytics. You can download Tableau Desktop from our website. The URL in the video will take you there. Getting Tableau Desktop up and running is very easy. It's roughly 153 megabyte download. Once you've downloaded it, you can go through the default install, and it's very quick. If you're not familiar with Tableau Desktop provides fast analytics for everyone. We use Tableau Desktop and Tableau tools internally as part of our dogfooding engineering practices for analytics for sales, marketing, engineering, etc. And once you have Tableau Desktop installed, it's fairly easy. If you're new to Tableau Desktop, just go ahead and explore with some of the sample workbooks that are built in, or you could go to Tableau Public as well and download some workbooks to play with. You're going to need Tableau Desktop to analyze the performance results that you get from TabJolt. In addition to Tableau Desktop, I've downloaded here the TabJolt for Tableau Server 9 zip file. The installation is really simple. You extract that out to a folder on your Windows machine. TabJolt only works on Windows at this point. And in this case, I'm creating a new folder called TabJolt on the C directory. Let's extract the files, and that's the directory structure that is available after the extract for you. In the extracted downloads of file, you'll find the TabJolt install guide. It's a fairly detailed install guide that provides you a lot of information and context. In addition, it gives you ideas on when you can use TabJolt. If you have a new server deployment, or you move in from 8 to 9, or you're doing configuration tuning, these are all great places to use TabJolt. Or perhaps you're going live to production. Calls out critical software, third-party software that is required to run TabJolt, and also provides some details around how you can configure Windows Perfmon and Tableau Server JMX metrics, in addition to key KPI, performance KPIs as well. It has screenshots that help you figure out how you run TabJolt, and also because TabJolt is being made as is, that is no support from Tableau, you're encouraged to go through the installation guide in detail. Of course, you can give me feedback, tweet me, or let me know how you like TabJolt. We always like to hear from you. So once you've downloaded and extracted TabJolt, there's a few prerequisites that are critical. Postgres is one of them. So in this particular case, I've installed Postgres 9.3 version. You can get Postgres from the link provided in the install guide. And pgadmin is a tool that comes with Postgres that allows you to work with the database. It's the administration tool. And in this particular case, I have a repository that I've already created. But when you connect to your Postgres via pgadmin tool, it'll ask you for a password, and I'm entering in the password because I've already created it. These are the tables in the schema that automatically get created by a script that we provide to you, right? And in order for you to run and create the schema automatically, we provided you the SQL scripts in the download zip file. So you should have those in the C:\tabjolt directory. So those are all the tables that we create. So how do you create those in the first place if you're doing this for the first time? So connect to the database, perf test, and then go ahead and open up the SQL editor. And from there, navigate to the C:\tabjolt directory and open up the part1.sql file. This basically just creates your perf results database for you. Once you've done that, then go ahead and open up the second part2 file that's in your download location and go through and execute that as well. I'm not executing that in the video because I already have the repository on this machine. Common mistakes I've seen is someone runs the scripts out of order, so you run the second one first. The first one really creates the database, and the second one really needs it. Or sometimes you've forgotten to run the second one. So these are common things you should look out for. Once you've set up Postgres, recommend that this not be the Tableau Server Postgres instance. Primarily, that's the best practice in load and scalability testing, is you don't impact your system under test. And once you've installed this on a load generation machine, in this case, I'm doing this on a Windows box. What you want to do is first edit the vispool.csv file. This really tells TabJolt the workbooks that you want to really load test against. TabJolt's really useful when you want to load and scale test Tableau Server with your workload. So in this particular case, I have one workbook URL, and there's details in the installation guide that are very important for you to follow in terms of how you get the workload URL, the view URL, and how you enter it there. Second is the server test config. This is where you tell TabJolt what your server instance is. So you point the URL. In addition, if you want to use a test where you're logging in and then loading vises, use the username and password provided there. Right? Otherwise, you're going to need guest user access and enable guest user with a core server license.
Here I'm showing you the data retrieval file.
Which really gives you information on how you enable perfmon counters and also JMX counters. Remember that if you want to capture JMX, you have to enable that in Tableau Server as well, and those instructions are provided to you in the installation guide. Now that you've looked at it, let's go open up a command window. And here I'm navigating to C:\tab_jolt. And also, as part of getting to a test run, I'm going to log into my local Tableau server here. I navigate to the viz and make sure that the viz that I want to test against is actually published to server. You can navigate to TabJolt, and if you type go, you'll get a list of options, command line options for you to execute. There's an example there that you can follow, and in this particular case, I'm just going to run TabJolt test and say use an interactive viz load test. This is a test mix that's really a JMeter test mix. TabJolt is built on top of JMeter, and this is something that we provide out of the box for you. The dash D just says run for 30 seconds, in this case for the video, and the dash C is the dash C, excuse me, is the number of clients. So you can go from 1 to 300 for a given instance of TabJolt. Recommend above the 300 number, recommend you spin up another process, another TabJolt process to continue to scale the server up. And that way you can continue to drive additional load. The output here is showing you the response times metrics that we're observing from the server responses, and also any errors that you might see. And at the end of the run, TabJolt is really collecting all of the perfmon data, the JMX data, the performance KPI data, and putting it in the perf results repository that you created earlier. At the end of the run, you'll always get a run ID, and you want to make a note of that run ID. So when you're analyzing, you can filter your results for that particular run.
So with TabJolt, we included a performance analysis workbook that you can open with Tableau Desktop. When you open the workbook, you may have to provide your Postgres credentials to be able to log in and connect to Postgres. So the run that we just ran has a run ID, and you can select that from the top right run ID filter. In this case, it's 30. Let's go ahead and apply it. So the particular test run was a really simple run. Let's look at a couple of runs that I've done previously and take a look at the workbook overall. So this is a simple 5-minute run that I'd run earlier, and this just really at the top shows you the run ID, the number of users. This was 10 users in this particular case, ran for about 5 minutes. The number of samples we captured, whether there were errors or not, the 90th and the 95th response, 95th percentile response time as well. So I would encourage you to navigate through each one of these tabs here to look at the various metrics and analytics we have out of the box. In this particular case, or the test failures tab, If there were any errors, you would actually see details about the test failures in this particular case. For example, you could see here the test response time breakdown for both the runs and do a comparison. You can look at the response time percentile, test count over time, test drill down, which actually shows you a little bit more detail about what is happening for each one of the requests under the hood as we are executing the requests on the back end as well. You can look at metrics like CPU and memory, and specifically things like SQL Server and Data Server, etc. Also give you a little bit more insight if you enable the JMX metrics as well. Hopefully this gives you a little bit of an overview of the workbook, and then you can continue to explore the workbook as you run through your tests as well.
With some performance analytics background, you can start to determine things around server saturation, what kind of capacity works for you, how the system is behaving with respect to load, etc. So there's a lot of powerful things you can do with TabJolt, and what you're really doing is simply pointing Tableau Server, or excuse me, you're pointing TabJolt to Tableau Server and the workbooks you want to load test in your environment, and you're up and running. So there's no reason for you to record and deploy and develop scripts um, to do a load test with TabJolt. Hope that gives you a good idea of what it takes to install, configure, and get things going. The installation guide certainly has a lot more detail and step-by-step process that you could follow. The video really gives you a quick overview walkthrough of how to get it going. In one of the upcoming videos, I'll spend a little bit more time on the analytics workload. But in the meantime, if you have feedback, do share that with us. Thank you so much. Bye.